Climate change is a serious global problem and requires cooperation within all countries to deal with this problem. In a climate crisis study, find heat wave cost the global economy of $16 trillion. Climate change refers to a long-term shift in temperature and weather patterns. Since the 18th century, human activity have been the main driver of climate change due to the burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. We will go to the reporter for the factor of climate change.
Talking about factors, there are many causes that can lead to climate change. The first main factor is greenhouse gas emission. With the burning of fossil fuels from motorcycle can create greenhouse gas emission. It affects the climate more than any other human activities. The quantity of carbon dioxide, methane and nitrous oxide in the Earth's atmosphere are higher currently than they have ever been in the previous 800,000 years. The Earth's surface temperature has grown as a result of this greenhouse gas emission and the greenhouse effect. Based on the research by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change (IPCC), greenhouse gas emission have already made the world 0.6 Celsius warmer during the last 3 decades. The second main factor that led to climate change is the changes in the Earth's reflectivity. The amount of sunlight that is absorbed or reflected by the planet depends on the Earth's surface and atmosphere. Dark objects and surfaces like the ocean, forest and soil tend to absorb more sunlight. Light-colored objects and surfaces like snow and clouds tend to reflect more sunlight. About 70% of the sunlight that reaches the Earth is absorbed. Natural changes in the Earth's surface, such as the melting of sea ice, have contributed to climate change.
Furthermore, the other factor lead to the climate change is cutting down the forest. It is to create farm or pasture and for the others reason. This will cause emission since trees when they cut, they will release the carbon. They have been storing. Each year, approximately 12 million hectares of forests are destroyed. Since forests absorb carbon dioxide, destroying them will limit nature's ability to keep out emission of the atmosphere. Deforestation together with agriculture and the other land use change. It is responsible for roughly a quarter of global greenhouse gas emission. Deforestation is a clearing a forest land with a purpose. Other factor is high transportation usage. The transport sector is one of the highest producers of greenhouse gas emission. Most cars, trucks, ships and airplanes use fossil fuels. That makes transportation a major contributor to green gases, especially carbon dioxide emission. Road vehicles account for the most part due to the combustion of petroleum-based products such as gasoline. In fact, transport is responsible for 24% of direct carbon dioxide emission as a result of burning fossil fuels, according to the International Energy Agency (IEA). Transport is important to our economy and personal life. However, it also means sources of greenhouse gas emission. Hoping for the bird eat the paddy. Karam Iswalia, TV5.
As the climate change crisis has been worse in these last few years, there are various parties and actors that have stepped up to handle the crisis. The government of Malaysia is one of the various actors that is responsible in tackling the climate change crisis. In September 2021, the government announced under the 12th Nation Plan that legislation on climate change would be formulated to increase coordination and enhance the effectiveness of climate change actions. Budget 2022 by the government announced incentives including full exemption from import and excise duties and sales tax for electric vehicles, together with road tax exemptions to reduce the effect of greenhouse gas emissions. Malaysia also has been actively participated in the international commitments such as signing and ratifying the UNFCCC and the Kyoto Protocol and other related agreements like the Vienna Convention for the Protection of the Ozone Layer and also the Paris Agreement. Other than that, international organizations such as the United Nations (UN) has created the UN Environment Programme (UNEP) as to stand at the core of the action in the fight against climate change. UNEP calls for greater ambition from countries and recognition of the benefits of integrating natural systems into concrete climate action. The organization is also working with governments, civil society, and the private sector to improve air quality and reduce emissions of short-lived climate pollutants. Other actors will be elaborated by our correspondent, Mr. Farihid.
For the third party involved in the climate change is World Wildlife Fund for Nature (WWF). Their mission is delivering on the promise of the Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement is the world collective response to addressing climate change in the year to come. WWF is the helping accelerate climate action from national government and from city, state and businesses to deliver on the ambitious goal of the historical Paris Agreement by providing financial support to developing countries as an implementing partner of Green Climate Fund and the Global Environment Facility. WWF has held Malaysia Forest for Life program. This program to increase the coverage of protected forest areas, improve production, forest management for sustainable wood supplies, and restoring degraded areas, especially where there is necessary to maintain critical forest relationship. Also, WWF has held a hour on Saturday 26 March 2022 at 8:30 p.m. This program by taking the symbolic action of switching off light for 1 hour. Earth Hour was founded to unite the world in support of people and the planet. For the last party is Sahabat Alam Malaysia, SAM. SAM mission is to focus of cultivation of awareness about the climate change, its effect and the monitoring, also implementation of national action plan and government policy on climate change, so that they are in the line with country obligation under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and the Paris Agreement. Role of SAM to Malaysia is accelerating effort to obtain international fund for climate adaptation. SAM would like to reiterate Malaysia's call for international fund for climate adaptation. The aim of the international fund is to help developing countries in their effort to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases and make adaptation in dealing with effect of climate change. SAM also held a campaign Earth Day on April 22. This campaign, we must remember Mother Earth every day and put the environment and ecology at the center of decision making if we want to avoid future catastrophic and will result the devastating environmental impact that also have implication for the economy. Theory involved in this climate change. Realism is the one of the oldest theories of international relation that has done much to explain why state go to war and how state respond to potential threat. The threat of climate change, however, is relatively new. Climate change has become a major talking point on the international political agenda, whether realism can stay relevant to discussion on climate change. Finally, realism view international politics through the lens of the great power. Most of what happens on the planet is influenced by their action. The major power have done and continue to do the majority of the damage to the atmosphere, and solving the problem is more depend on their action.
Assalamualaikum, I am Nisha Zwani Harun. Currently, we can see that climate change issue got the attention from people all around the world. The question is, what are the bad effects of climate change globally? Heat waves are one of the bad effects of climate change that are caused by greenhouse gas emission. Because of these factors, hot days are getting hotter and more frequent, while we are experiencing fewer cool days across the globe. Let's continue with Huda Raihana at the studio.
Oh no! Look at this iceberg! They are melting! What is happening? Assalamualaikum, I am Huda Raihana, your next reporter. As you guys can see, those icebergs are melting because of climate change. More icebergs are spawning from melting ice sheet as temperatures rise due to global warming. Despite local weather consequences such as fault formation, icebergs have two major climate effects. Iceberg production affects the parent ice sheet's mass balance, and melting iceberg actually impact both ocean structure and global ocean level, which are expected for flooding and erosion. According to scientists, nearly 4 trillion tons of Greenland ice have entered the ocean since 1992, equivalent to about 1 centimeter of global sea level rise. Let's move to the next one. As you guys can see, this is what humans are going through right now. Climate change is a long-term change in the world's weather system. Climate change has an impact on social and environmental health determinants such as clean air, safe drinking water, enough food, and a safe place to live. Increases in respiratory and cardiovascular diseases connected with extreme weather events, changes in the prevalence and geography are all health consequences of climate change. Now we will move to the next reporter. How about you, Atika?
Assalamualaikum, I'm Siti Nur Atika, your next reporter. The storm happened because as the temperature rises, more moisture evaporates, which aggravates extreme heavy rainfall and leads to floods that can result in more destructive storm. Warming ocean is one of the factors that give effect on the frequency and extent of tropical storms. Cyclones, hurricanes, and typhoons feed on warm waters at the ocean surface. This type of storm usually can destroy the people's homes, towns, and also lead to death and give a harsh impact on economic losses. We already see various implications because of climate change. Warming ocean and rising sea level also happens. How climate change affect the warming ocean and rising the sea levels? It's happened when most of the global warming absorbed by the oceans. During the past 2 decades, where the rate at which the ocean is warming strongly increased across all the depth of the oceans. Water expands as it becomes warmer, so as the oceans warms, the volume is increased. The sea level increase because of the melting ice sheets affecting the coastal and also the island people. UK, one of the country having this implication. UK is comparatively mild because of the heat brought by the ocean current from the Gulf of Mexico. Melting Arctic sea ice is awakening this current, meaning that the UK could face more extreme weather as the result of the climate change. That's all from me, then pass it back to the next reporter.
Thank you, Tika, from the studio. Now we will continue our TV5 news with the slot Save the Earth.
Hello guys, we are back to the slot Save the Earth. Do you know taxes imposed on carbon? The imposition of a fee on emissions appears to encourage individuals, businesses, and governments to emit less. Greenhouse gas emissions such as carbon dioxide pollute the atmosphere and alter the climate. A carbon tax attempts to reduce emissions by requiring the largest emitters of greenhouse gases to pay a fee. As example, a coal-fired power plant. This is to compensate for the harm it has caused. Go back to the next reporter. Hi Tika.
Hi Yuda and hi everyone, I'm Tika Akbar. So do you know about Protect Greens? Do you know that Protect Greens can reduce the climate change?
No.
So it's okay if you don't know, I will explain one by one, so let's take a look. Firstly is that you can protect green space such as park and garden because they can help to absorb the carbon dioxide. Not only that, when we protect greens, it helps to regulate the temperature, cool overheated urban areas, reduce flood risks by absorb surface rainwater, and also to provide important habitats for the insect, animals, birds, and also amphibians. So this will benefit to the public health with the study linking green space to reduce the level of stress. Thirdly, we can use public transportation also to go to work to avoid the traffic jams, and also this is a great method to reduce the emissions. The drawback of this that our environment is destroyed by the greenhouse gases that millions of cars release. So you can use all of this way to protect greens. Let's all of us together to save greens. So that's all from me and goodbye.
Hello everyone, I am Wani Harun. Do you guys ever wonder what you guys can do to save our earth from climate change? You can do it as simply as cutting down on energy usage in your household, such as turning off light and unplugging device that you are not using anymore. You guys also can replace the light bulb with energy efficient light bulb to save electricity. Do you guys know what this is? Picture at the right side is non-renewable energy and at the left side is renewable energy. To overcome the climate change problem, we need to educate and spread awareness to people out there that renewable energy is better than non-renewable energy. This is because non-renewable energy releases large amount of carbon dioxide in the air that trap heat in our atmosphere that cause global warming. So the choice is in our hands. Now that is the end of slot Save the Earth. Remember guys to save our earth. I am passing back to Iskandar at the studio.
Climate change is a serious issue and it affected the global. All people from all parties, no matter from the government, organization and the people themselves, must work together to tackle this crisis. Like a tree is strong because of its root, the root are strong because of its soil. Iskandar Haiza, TV5.